Welcome to Instruction Discussion, our weekly look at the latest topics and trends in education affecting schools here on Long Island and schools around the world. Whether you're a teacher, parent, or student, listen for tips and strategies to help you navigate the educational landscape. There's a bell. It's time to start today's Instruction Discussion on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello, I'm Kevin Boston Hill, and welcome to Instruction Discussion, where each week we will examine a recent trend or development in education and its impact on Long Island. Among the issues that the current pandemic has brought to the forefront in our society is the fight against discrimination and for the rights of everyone. Part of this fight deals with supporting the academic advancement of people in underserved communities in technical fields. IBM has emerged as a leader in providing this support. Through its continued investment in higher education, notably HBCUs, to creating economic opportunity for underserved communities through its P-Tech program, to the call for code for racial justice and calls for other policy changes, IBM has shown a commitment to promoting diversity and inclusion. Today, I am honored to welcome to our classroom Ms. Monika Means, Vice President of Transformation and Culture at IBM. Ms. Means, welcome to Instruction Discussion on 90.3 WHPC.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So before we actually delve into today's class, let's find out a little bit more about you. I was reading your bio, which is very impressive, and I'm sure that there are a lot of other young ladies who would love to hear about how you actually became the Vice President of Transformation and Culture at IBM. So can you share a little bit about your background with us?
I'm happy to. So I'm actually from a place that's a lot smaller than New York. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama originally. And I grew up as a student that was always very committed to my studies. And I had a babysitting job, actually, in high school. And I was, wrapping up the evening, saying goodbye to the kids and to the mom. And she asked me, how's your college search going? And I said, well, it's going, I'm really interested in business, but I don't know what school I'm going to go to or apply to. And she looked at me and she said, well, you should go to the best. And I said, okay. And then she said, look into the Wharton School. I had never heard of the Wharton School. But I went home that evening, and of course, I started to do my research. So I ended up applying to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League college, and I ended up getting in. And from there, that really set me on my way towards the incredible career that I've had, really propelling me to my first job in consulting, where I got an opportunity to work with different clients across multiple industries all around the world. And that's where I fell in love with transformation. And so I've been making change happen everywhere I go ever since.
So, let's talk a bit about how that connection or how that first influence was able to impact your, decisions going forward, because a lot of our youth may not get that opportunity or have that person to make that suggestion of a school that they've never heard of before. Because, Wharton is not a very well-known, it is well-known in the business circle, but to the average student who's applying to school, they may not be thinking of a Wharton. They may be thinking of a more local institution that they're going to be going to. So let's talk a little bit about how that influence, just that simple suggestion, got you to do some of the work that you're doing now?
I think what was incredible about that moment is she saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself at that point. And what I have taken with me since then, of course, is that it's so important for us to be open to new experiences and new perspectives, and to surround ourselves with people we're comfortable with, but also people we don't know so well we're not so comfortable with. Really just trying to get as much exposure and as many perspectives as possible. And it was in that way, babysitting for someone that didn't live in my neighborhood, had a very different lifestyle and experience than I did, that I happened upon this particular individual. Her name's Leslie. Don't feel limited by your local surroundings. And particularly today, I mean, we can all connect to anyone in the world with the internet in just seconds.
So, we talk a lot about diversity and specific diversity in technology. Where does that begin? Where does that discussion begin, and where does IBM fit into all that?
Well, for us, we think the discussion starts early and as young as possible. So we've been investing significantly in programs, both at a high school level and a college level, to promote education around STEM and technology. And we think that's important. We think it's important for so many reasons. I mean, we believe it will drive innovation and growth for our company. But it's also just important to the world to close the digital divide that's been created. So we're starting young. And I'll go on to say, we're looking at sources of talent from underserved communities. And we think this is important to really combat systematic racism, and to create economic opportunity and prosperity for all.
Now, I know you talk about how you're going to help out in the underserved communities, but let's back up just a little bit, because I wanted you to hit on or touch on what the Embrace program is all about, because I know that's where the workers, the people at IBM really embrace the idea of this systematic change or changing the systems. And so talk to us a little bit more about what the Embrace program is about and what it's going to be able to accomplish.
So why don't I go back and tell you where we started.
Sure.
With this program. And this is a program that we just launched this year, actually. But, I guess if I go all the way back, I have to go back to the beginning. So IBM is a company that's over 100 years old. And we've had a long-term commitment to diversity and inclusion for all, for an eternity. And that's come from us really listening to our employees about their aspirations, their concerns, their experiences. And the events that happened earlier this year, particularly in the Black community in the U.S., brought into stark focus for our company and our leadership the need to really lean in and listen more, listen differently, to truly understand the experiences that Black IBMers were having as it relates to racism and inequality. And what we heard as we were listening was that Black IBMers wanted to see change. And that probably doesn't surprise anyone. I think everyone, all Americans, frankly, want to see change and progress. And so it was with this understanding that IBM as a company and our leadership team decided to commit to taking even greater action than we've taken in the past. And this is where we launched the Embrace program. And the Embrace program has several components to it. But I'd like to talk about it kind of aligned to our 4 strategic pillars, because I think that will give your listeners a sense for what we're focused on and what we prioritize. And the first is driving representation and also transparency around our representation, which is not something a lot of companies do, meaning how many people of color do you have in your organization? What are your percentages? So we've started there as one of our pillars. A second pillar is around creating economic opportunity. And we believe this is incredibly important to eradicating systematic racism. And the focus there is giving people skills, giving people jobs, thinking about how we spend our money with our suppliers, how we invest it, but very holistically thinking about how we create economic opportunity for underserved communities. The third is leading in good technology. So we are a tech company, And we've always prided ourselves on being essential to the world and doing the right thing. For us, our vision is to be the most trusted technology partner of the 21st century. And that comes from doing things like developing solutions that help us to all be more inclusive and more equal and more just in this world. So we've looked at how our technology can improve voting, how our technology can assist public defenders, and other parts of our judicial system to be more fair and be more equitable. And those are just a few of the things that we're doing as we try to drive good technology. And the fourth is social justice policy advocacy. We are a company that prides ourselves on being committed to good policies, not politics. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really proud that our CEO, Arvind Krishna, recently, just in November, sent a letter to the Biden administration, congratulating them, of course, but also speaking to them about how important unity and inclusion is to us, and asking for their partnership in the work that we're doing to close the skills gap and also to continue to erase the barriers to advancement for underrepresented communities and to alleviate systematic racism.
Yep, I was going to bring up that letter because I was actually impressed that your CEO would reach out to President-elect Biden and his administration to discuss, ways to, or at least begin the conversation on ways to close that digital divide. And I think, and one of those ways that was perhaps mentioned in the letter was talking about apprenticeships and 6-year high schools that have particular academic and career-focused programs and things of that nature. So what is IBM thinking about or perhaps even doing in that realm and introducing that type of system into different school districts?
Yeah. So I know I still get goosebumps when I think about the letter personally, but it's so important because at IBM we recognize that a 4-year college degree is not, nor should it be, the only path to success. And so one of the things that we've done really since 2011 is we've been working with educators to help create a program called PTech. And PTech stands for Pathways in Technology, Early College High Schools. And it's
Pathways
really
in Technology, Early College High School
model.
Yeah, Pathways in Technology, Early College High School.
So PTech provides opportunities to young people, especially children of color and young people from low-income families, opportunities to train and to grow skills that are relevant for technology, and to get a no-cost associate's degree at the same time. PTech students graduate. They go on to opportunities at IBM, for example, and other technology companies. But it's been a pretty incredible program. And I'd say, like, this past year in particular, with everything that's happened in the world, we've decided to make a significant investment in PTech. So we've increased our commitment by 10x. We are offering 1,000 internships to PTech students between now and the end of next year. And these internships are not your typical summer internships. They're truly meant to be enriching experiences that include mentorship from IBM role models. It includes apprenticeship, the opportunity to really practice the skills that they've learned in an education setting. And it's something that we believe wholeheartedly in. We think this is the way that we can contribute to closing the digital divide.
You are listening to Instruction Discussion on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Kevin Boston Hill, and our guest today is Ms. Monika Means, Vice President of Transformation and Culture at IBM. So I know you mentioned about, talk a little bit more about P-TECH, and I know we may have had a little technical issue there, but P-TECH, of course, stands for Pathways in Technology, Early College, High School. And I think it provides students with that alternate path to success, because as you mentioned, college is not the only, or four-year college is not the only way to enter the technology field, or any field for that matter. And I think through P-TECH and the relationship that IBM has with local school districts and schools to be able to provide that training, that apprenticeship, and also allow students to earn an associate's degree along the way, I think that's going to be a game changer, because with that 2-year degree, they can then still go to a 4-year school, but they're already halfway there. After graduating high school, they're already halfway done with their 4-year college degree. So I think that's going to be a money saver, because that's 2 years less of tuition that they have to worry about paying, and that enables them to enter the workforce that much sooner, or do whatever else they want to do with their careers that much sooner. So I think the P-TECH program is definitely a way to go for those individuals in our underserved communities to be able to recognize some amount of success. And
we agree. So we know P-TECH is already starting to address the lack of diversity and inclusion in the tech industry. As we give skills to underserved talent and bring them into our organizations at a much earlier pace and at a faster rate.
So since we're talking about college, because we don't want to disparage college or anything, because it's still a viable option for a lot of people, and it's still very important in the overall scope of things. But again, since we're talking about that, talk to us about the work that IBM is doing with the historically Black colleges and universities, the HBCUs.
Yeah, so we just recently announced our first IBM Quantum Education and Research Initiative for historically Black colleges and universities. And again, it's aimed at driving a diverse and inclusive workforce. It's focused on quantum, which is really the leading edge of technology. Quantum computing is the future. And we want to invest in this workforce being prepared to help us carry forward. And so what we've done is, led by Howard University and also 12 additional HBCUs, we are offering access to quantum computers for students and collaborating with them as well on academic as well as community outreach programs. And so we've made a $100 million investment in this program. And it's exciting to see the engagement that we're getting from students in the HBCUs as they download different assets and take advantage of some of our different technologies and apply that in their learning.
And we talked a little bit, or you mentioned a little bit about the fourth pillar, which was the social justice policy advocacy that embraces it, deals with as well. So, what is the call for code for racial justice?
So Call for Code overall is a program that we've run for several years. And really what it is a campaign to engage developers who are creating technologies to solve our greatest challenges as a society. And so they focused on climate change in the past and even COVID-19 this year. But they've also focused on racial justice. And what we've urged this community to do is really think about what are some solutions that we could create that would combat racial and social injustice. And they've been incubating what we call open source projects to really drive progress in these areas, and have put forward some very provocative and compelling solutions that help to drive reform around our judicial system as well as policing, around representation of diversity, and then also some policy reform. So solutions, technology solutions are really helping to be a bridge to solving for racism through this program.
Earlier, you mentioned that IBM has been around for 100+ years. I mean, it's been known as Big Blue, and that was kind of one of the stalwarts, one of the cornerstones of the New York Stock Exchange and so forth, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So why is such a large company like IBM, why are they now focusing, or not just now, but why have they been and continue to focus on these racial and social justice initiatives when they have such a big stake in the technology market? Is there any concern that their ideas may impact or negatively impact their marketplace, their marketplace share?
No, we are involved here like we've always been involved here because it's who we are and it's what we value. From the beginning of Big Blue. And we don't see any negative or adverse impact. We only see positives. Our clients trust us to do the right thing, to be the good technology partner. And so part of that is living out our values. And we value a diverse and inclusive and an equitable workforce for our people, but also for the world that they live in.
We also kind of touched on, or you touched on, we mentioned the term digital divide and the need to close that digital divide. Are there any ways or any concrete ways that IBM is sponsoring currently that would do just that would actually help to close this digital divide and be able to not only get the technology into the hands of people in underserved communities, but also to get the access to that technology, meaning not just the computers and the hardware, but also the Wi-Fi service and the other aspects that they would need to actually help that hardware to run? What are some of the ways that IBM is actually doing the physical, concrete assistance to close that divide? So we are primarily a company that provides hardware and also software. And I talked about our commitment with the HBCUs, where we are putting quantum computers and assets and software in their hands. And that's something we've chosen to do to make that investment there. I think other ways is really through our developer community, participating in what we call open source platforms that allow them to contribute their code, but also leverage the code of others, would be another way. We really do believe in the power of the entire network, the entire ecosystem, coming together to innovate technology for the future. Where can my listeners actually go to receive more information, whether it's about P-Tech or about the call for code or anything else that IBM is doing through its Embrace program? Well, come check us out on our website. You can go to ibm.com/e-equal and hear about all the things that we're doing to really champion diversity and inclusion for everyone. Excellent. Great. I definitely want to encourage all the listeners to go out there and definitely check out the ibm.com/BBE-equal. That's so that you can find out more information about all the wonderful things that IBM is doing through its Embrace program. And once again, those 4 pillars are representation and transparency, creating economic opportunity, leading in good technology, and social justice policy advocacy. I think those are definitely 4 areas that there are four pillars, because those are the 4 areas that would greatly impact not just the underserved communities, but I think our society as a whole. So we definitely thank you all for the work that you are doing in this area. Thank you, and thanks for having me. And well, before we let you go, I do have one statement or question, one more question for you. How would you complete this statement? You will consider yourself successful in your current role when? Well, I'd probably have to steal a statement from our Chief Diversity Officer, Carla Pickens Grant.
I will feel successful in my current role when we've shifted gears at IBM and also across our country and around the world, where we've advanced from unconscious bias to conscious inclusion, from being colorblind to color appreciative, and from passive non-discrimination to active allyship for everyone. So I have lots of work to do. I guess I better get busy.
I think we all have lots of work to do, and you definitely have some allies that will definitely support you as well. So again, we'd like to thank our guest, Monika Means, Vice President of Transformation and Culture at IBM, for stopping by our classroom today.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
My name is Kevin Boston Hill, and thank you for listening to Instruction Discussion right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
It was a goal that I wanted to achieve from the very beginning. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. I wasn't sure if I could do it. It was very hard for me, but the teachers, the counselors, they help you. One of the teachers was Miss Araceli. Miss Araceli, she gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll come over and she'll sit there with you until you get it.
At age 47, with the help of his teacher, Marco finished his high school diploma.
50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work. Getting your high school diploma, it is a life-changing experience. It really is. It catapults you to where you want to go.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.